righty. So we are here, guys, with Luis. Luis, thanks so much for hanging out for episode 4 of Dirty Money. And I got to know you through John Jasniak's program. And, again, thanks for taking time, spend an hour talking dirt.
Yeah, man. Thank you for inviting me, Jeff. I love the name, Dirty Money. That's how we get our money, right?
Yeah, exactly. We get it
dirty
from dirt
pieces of land.
Yeah, exactly. And
not in the
who's
meaning
not
of the
wanna...
dirty, it's just the dirt. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. We laughed before. We'll talk about money laundering that's a different podcast. That's not what we're doing.
No. And for sure. And when you said dirty, there are a couple properties that I have purchased that were trashed, but it's so minimum. You were talking about 5 properties out of like 350 vacant lots that I have purchased in my whole almost 6 years that were like not good, that I had to pay someone to go there and clean the property. The rest were just like vacant lots. It's just dirt somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or the builder you're selling it to, they've already baked into the cake. They got to scrape the ground anyway. So there's very rarely we have to do any kind of major cleanups.
No, yeah. I remember doing a major cleanup back in 2020. And I only did because the property wasn't selling.
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, hey, let's go back in time. When did you start land investing like at all? And then what made you decide, hey, I think I want to double down on this?
Sure. So I started learning about real estate back in 2018, end of 2018. I went the normal route. I got my real estate license. I went to Robert Kiyosaki's courses on foreclosure, mobile homes, for sale by owner, all of that thing. But I didn't learn about the land. Then Mark Jeffrey, good guy, he was there in this event and he told me about the vacant lots. I met him in there and he's like, I'm flipping vacant lots. I'm making all this money. It's great. And I was like, oh, awesome, man. I love it. But I had to purchase another course in order to learn that. And I had already spent about $20,000 with Robert Kiyosaki's plan. So I was like, wow. I can't invest any more money. I'm broke. I did this on my credit card, 0 interest rate, because they teach you that. Turned around, I got my real estate license. I started going to investors meeting back in Los Angeles. Every Wednesday we would meet and talking, and they're like, oh, this vacant land guy is coming in town to give a course, Luis. You should do it. They told me, Jeff. I was like, how much is it? $1,500. I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. It's time.
So wait, but before we get into this one, at the Kiyosaki event for 20 grand, what they taught you at the event, how to get it for the 0% interest credit card?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Here's the course and here's how to pay for it.
Absolutely. Personal loans. They were teaching you how to get personal loans, how to get the credit card. They were salespeople.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
And I bought the lowest level.
The lowest level was 20 grand. Wow. Yep. Okay. So they start doing that. And then you hear about the guy who's turning lots. You sign up for his $1,500 course. And then what happens?
Well, before we went live, he came to Los Angeles. He gave us a book, which I read like crazy. I was like, dude, this is amazing. I'm going to become a millionaire flipping vacant lots. It's so easy. I can do it from the comfort of my home. I don't have to see the lots. I don't have any money. I can wholesale. I can market. I can do everything. And it just opened my eyes. When he came, I was already like, wow. And I listened to him. Next day, I was at home downloading like 1,300 properties, like everywhere, Florida, Arizona, just to Melo. So I was super excited. I was like, I could not wait to start.
What was this book that he referred you to?
No, he wrote a book.
Oh, he wrote it.
A guideline. It wasn't like a book that you can buy online.
Okay, cool. So you tear through this, and next thing you know, you're downloading a bunch of properties. And so you started with a direct mail campaign?
It was direct mail for about 2.5 years, only direct mail. I didn't know any better. He was not teaching the other ways.
Mm-hmm. And so, and this was just, this was for individual lots that you were going to wholesale to builders. Is that really what it was?
Builders, local buyers.
Yeah.
Anyone that would have the money.
Okay, cool. So you got this list of 1,300. You start out the direct mail, and then what does the next few months look like?
So that was February 2019.
Mhm.
So about March, I like 30 days after I sent my first mail, I got a few properties under contract, Jeff.
Mm.
Um, and then I was struggling to sell those properties. It was not easy. So this guy had a seminar, 3-day seminar in Arizona, where he would go deeper into the model. So I went there, didn't
Mm.
even pay any extra. I went there, and during that seminar, I learned a little bit more how to sell, and I got 2 or 3 properties under contract right there on the spot.
Cool. What were some of the aha moments from this seminar that leveled you up in the sales process?
I don't know, just listening to people talk about it, and just like be consistent, keep reaching out to people, buyers and sellers.
Yeah. So what was your process at the time for finding buyers and builders for these lots? Because finding a
Totally.
builder is kind of easy, but what else did you do?
So back at 2019, 2020, you could post online on Facebook, on Zillow, as a
Mm.
for sale by owner, even if you didn't own the property. So I would have the contract signed by the seller. I would then go ahead and put it on Zillow. Zillow would direct to Redfin, Realtor. So I would get a lot of traction, a lot of people. That was how I sold my vacant lots back then. Some
Mm.
Facebook, but more Zillow and Redfin.
Mm. Okay.
Today you cannot put a for sale by owner, a vacant lot for sale by owner on Zillow. Just doesn't work anymore
Just at all, even if you owned it.
at all, even if you own it.
Wow. Why that change?
I don't know. We
So
don't
weird.
know.
Okay.
I talked to other people. They're just doing for sale by owners for houses, multifamily, all this stuff. I open
Interesting.
tickets. They don't even answer anymore. I
There's
tried.
some.
I every 2 months or 3 months, I try again to see if it's back online. I might try today, but it's not.
Yeah. Okay. So you were able to kind of access some of these other buyers through Zillow, Redfin, and the others, and that goes great. And so how many deals were you doing in that first year that you started?
So the first year I was an investor and I also was a realtor. I was trying to do both. So I was spending actually a little bit more time in the beginning as a realtor. So I didn't
Mhm.
focus as much. I should have, but I didn't. Um, and then Jeff, you're there? Jeff? I think I lost you, man.
Sorry
I
about
lost you.
my internet was just like, you know what? I've had enough of this discussion. Zillow says no, we're out, but we're back. Sorry about that. So you were
No, it's
operating
okay.
as an investor and a realtor, trying to do both, and then what was happening?
And a server. I was a server in a restaurant in Los
Oh wow.
Angeles. So that was my 3 jobs. At night, I would go to the restaurant at least 5 times a week. Not a lot of hours, like 5, 6 hours a day, but I would make good money. In the morning and afternoon. Afternoon, I would be a realtor, morning dad, and sometimes when I got home after working, I would check areas for land investing.
Mhm.
But then it took me like 8 or 9 months to realize that investing in land was way better than being a realtor. I was
Mhm.
doing smaller deals in between the 9 months, and it was coming more money, but I wasn't putting too much time in it. I was putting more time in the realtor, but money didn't come in.
Mm.
I got a for sale by owner listing in Los Angeles, but I got to sell that property, and then that was it for the first year. I think the first year in 2019, I might have the numbers in here, but it was a very low amount of vacant lots that I flipped.
Yeah. Okay.
I
So
don't have 2019 actually. I do have 2020.
okay. Cool. How
We
many?
I did 55 deals 2020.
Wow. Okay. Great. Fantastic. So the first full year goes great, and that's really the model: sending out direct mailers interested in buying your property, get under contract, post it on Zillow, Redfin, Facebook, whatever,
Yes.
and it starts churning. Awesome.
Yeah. I would do neutral letter, interested in buying your property, and I would do blind offer. Mark,
Okay.
he taught me a little bit how to do blind offers. So I dissected that. I was sending tons of blind offers.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
probably this, like, and we're talking 55 transactions, right? Buy and sell,
Mhm.
not 55 on each side. So 50, and it doesn't mean because there's more vacant lots in here. I just see one in here of the 55, 4 vacant lots, 2 vacant lots, So it was 55 transactions where I got the money. Because some people, when you see their advertising, oh, I did 100 transactions, I'm like, does that mean that you got 50 when you bought it and 50 when you sold? Right?
Uh-huh.
Mine is 55 solid. 6-figure income. I was able to save a lot of money that year.
Yeah.
Um,
Fantastic. Okay, so that's
and
going
most
forward.
of those also,
Yeah.
like, I think 85% of those were double closer assignment. Like
Mhm.
we're talking, because I was able to sell it so fast with the power of Zillow. Zillow was so powerful back then
Right.
that I didn't have to own it. I would get it under contract for like 90 days.
Yeah.
And I would sell it right away because it
Mm.
was everywhere.
Yeah. Great. So if Zillow is not cooperating on selling the lots now, what has been the tool of choice to get these lots sold instead?
Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay. Like Facebook
Not just
marketing.
Facebook. I got banned from Facebook. So you always have to learn something new, Jeff. Yeah. Finally, I got someone to help me fix that. But I was banned for a good 4 months. So I was like struggling. So I
Wow.
had to pivot, right? So you find neighbors that are around, you send them text messages, you call them, you send them letters, you call builders. Um, you have to buy the property now, and then after you're the owner, you can put it for sale on brokerless MLS fees.
Hmm.
So that's what I do as well. So I'm not doing as many as double closing because of that. I would say like 50% are double closing assignment because I have the list of buyers. I know how to market the property.
Mhm.
But before it was like 85%.
Yeah.
So now I
Yeah.
have to have more capital. I use people's money.
Okay, so you're really having to close on, well, I guess you're still double closing probably, but you were having to close on it, own it, and then you could post it on the MLS for like your flat fee listing, and then you could market it and do whatever you needed to.
Yes, yes.
Got it. Okay, cool. So that goes on a while, and then how long were you just concentrating on single family lots?
I never focused on single family lots. I think the software that I was using at the time was giving me residential lots.
Hmm.
So, but I still to this day I flip more residential lots than anything else. Some of them are zoned multifamily, and sometimes I get commercial, industrial.
Hmm.
I don't remember, but probably this first year and 2 years it was just residential. Like some of them could be multifamily, but most of them just one house.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So is it just you in the business, or have you built a team at this point?
I built a team right now.
Okay. What is your staff?
Always, I always had help. Like I always would hire people from the Philippines, companies that will help me. Like I tried everything, right? Companies that
Yeah.
would take the calls, companies that would do the marketing for you, photos, all these photos. You see the photo in the background?
Hmm.
I don't do it myself. They do it for me, right? So I always leverage them in an instance. But I had my first employee um, back in probably mid 2021.
Hmm.
That's when I got her. She was in the US, and then she started helping me. 2022, she had problems. She left me like out of the blue.
Oh.
She's gone. I sent her a big list of letters that came back to my house for her to skip trace,
Uh-huh.
and she was gone. So on that
Oh
list in
no.
there that I could have made more deals, it was gone.
So
Yeah.
so for anybody who's getting started and, trying to flip lots, trying to flip, rural pieces of land, the 5 to 10 acres, at what point did you decide, "Hey, I do need some help. I'm going to hire somebody to do this function?"
Once I learned the whole system, once I
Mhm.
learned what to do, and I was more comfortable in giving people, in teaching them. That's once I flipped in my mind. And I
Yeah.
got too busy, right? But 2020, I did it all by myself. 2021 half, I did all by myself
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it was super easy. It was easier.
Right. You had Zillow and Facebook working for you instead of working
Yeah,
against you a bit. So when
sure.
you post on Facebook, have you created like your own business page, or are you just posting to marketplace and other groups?
Marketplace.
Yep. Yep. That's where a lot of people go and operate, and that still seems to work well when you can target it. Okay,
Yeah. So
cool.
this girl left me, and then I hired another one from the US. And then I was still using, I always use this company in the Philippines. They were doing work for me, like 3 4 hours, one worker. But then I went ahead and I got connected to more people, and I was like, I'm gonna hire you directly. So I
Yeah.
hired one, then I hired two, three, four. Now I just hired one last week.
Mm.
So now we have a pretty much full time. They're like 6 hours, 7 8 hours a day. I tell them, as long as you have work, you can work as much as you want. I don't limit them on time.
Oh
So I have
wow.
one in the US. She does 6 hours a day, 6 or 7 hours a day. And then I have, so with the new one, seven in the Philippines.
Okay. And so do you have this now fully automated, or do you still have to operate within the business each day?
Oh, I still have to operate.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I'm still
You're
here every day
you're
grinding.
yeah. So what roles did you keep for yourself that you didn't outsource?
Putting price on properties,
Hmm.
like
Okay.
how much I can offer, how much I sell it for. That's pretty much my main job. And downloading lists. So let's say I find an area that I like, I download the list according to my criteria, to the criteria where the market is dictating that the properties are selling. I give it to them, and then they're off. They're skip tracing. They're like cold calling. They're voicemail. They're texting. And then the ones that reply back wanting to sell, they give it to me the task back in the CRM, and then I put an offer on it, and then they call them back. I put a task back to them, and they call them with the offer,
Okay.
and then they follow up.
Got it. So they'll do the negotiate. They'll put it under contract, get all
Yeah.
that paperwork done,
They'll
so you
write the
don't have to close
contract,
it.
they'll do
Yeah.
everything. I
Okay.
jump on subdivision calls,
Right.
but initial call, they do all of it. All the initial calls. They talk to the sellers, they have the script that I like. Everything is recorded. I can listen to their calls, I can teach them.
Hmm.
And then I make the offer. Most of the offers, they are the ones who are making, unless it's a subdivision. So pretty much one person and me cannot make offers in the subdivision ones.
Okay. Amazing.
And
And
the
so I guess
problem with the Philippines is like the internet, it's not very good. So that's why I have seven people, because every single day, one or two people are not working.
yep. That was always a problem. I had several virtual assistants working for me. Loved them to death. They were amazing. I loved working with them. But yeah, it always seemed like every day I'd get a report that there was some internet issue, there was a power outage, there was something, and they're trying. They're like, dude, like I'm sorry. It's like, oh man, this is so annoying.
That's why I keep hiring more people in there. My assistant texted me yesterday. She's like, I found two more girls that I think you're going to like it, Luis. Let's talk to them. I'm like, perfect. She knows because of those problems, and I want to keep consistency.
Right, right. How do you vet quality assistants or employees to come work for you?
How do they vet for me?
They
So
do it.
this girl, she does the job for me. She brings me the best ones, and then I just talk to them. I see if they're available, and I teach them everything. I mean, we all teach them,
Yeah.
like, right? Jump on a call with this person. Jump on a call with this person. Learning from everyone. Plus, I do weekly, at least 2 times a week. I talk to them, all of them, to see how we're doing, to show them what they can improve.
Yeah. Okay. So you're doing that a while, and then I guess at some point, how did you start to chase after the subdivision that you've got behind you? Was that by accident or was that deliberate?
Uh, Not by accident. By accident that I found John's YouTube channel. where he was flipping the land. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And this guy is sharing everything online. Like
Yeah.
he's sharing the areas that he works at. He's sharing the price that he's offering. I'm like, what in the world? Because I don't do that. I mean, I give you the tools, and then you are the one who has to find the areas that you think are profitable. Because I'm not going to give you my areas that I'm working in. You know, that's my philosophy. If you have an investor that will give you the areas, talk to them. But anyways, I started downloading areas in Texas for the subdivision, and I did my first batch of mail last year, a year
Mhm.
ago, to West Texas, where I have this subdivision right now.
Mhm.
And people start calling me, Jeff, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Don't know what to do. I don't know how much I can offer you. I don't know what I can do. So John had a special on his course, and I purchased. And then I started going to calls every Friday. We had calls every single Friday. And ask John, I was probably the most active student. I was always bringing deals like, what do we do with this one? How much can I offer this? Look at this one.
Yeah.
Always, always. I told him in the beginning, I'm going to get a subdivision. I'm going to get it under my belt.
Yep. So, so this one that you have behind you, how many acres was that, and how many lots did you create?
800 acres, my first subdivision.
Holy mackerel! And those are not tiny. Those are not big lots you create either. Most of the time in the subdivision, it's hey, let's do the exempt one with 10 acres and up.
10
But
plus.
I'm seeing behind you, it's like 1.2 acres. Like, how long did this take to get this thing approved and blessed?
No, it was approved very fast.
Really?
Uh, yeah. So I had a contract with the seller for 200 acres initially. I went there. One of my partners right now, he reached out to me because he's in John's group too. Luis, I can help you. First he tried to buy the contract from me.
Oh,
I
nice.
shared I shared it with everyone, right? He's like, "Hey, do you want to wholesale that piece of property? I'll buy it from you." I'm like, "Nope, I want to
Nope.
do it from scratch. I want to do it all." And they're like, "Oh, let's partner up." He called me. I liked him. He was very operational, and we decided to come together.
Cool.
I raised funds for the 200 acres, which was $1 million.
Hmm.
But then I went to see the property, right? So I raised funds before everything, and I went to see the property with my partners. And I knew that the seller had more acres, more. He had 1,000 acres.
Wow.
When I went to see it and I saw this piece of land, which is the best one, the 200 acres that we have are not the best area. It's the
Hmm.
same area. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the best. This one is the best one. I was like calling the seller after, right? I want it all. I want to buy it all. And negotiation, negotiation, negotiation. He's like, I have to sell to this guy 200 acres. I'm like, okay, I'll buy 800 acres. So he sold us 800 acres.
Wow. Amazing. Did
And
you do
then, go ahead.
Was that a cash purchase or did you negotiate a seller
Cash,
finance? Cash.
cash.
Okay.
He wanted cash. He wanted to do a 1031. He wanted to buy.
Oh, okay. Cool. So he had a mission that he was trying to accomplish. Got it.
Yeah, for sure. And as of now, we have created 317 lots.
Wow. How many
But
of
the
them have you
plan is,
sold?
wow, we're selling like so crazy. We're selling like water. If I take a look at right now, we probably sold because we're selling phases, right? Phase one, we're in phase one and phase two. We're not selling
Right.
all of them together because
Mhm.
it would saturate the market. People would be like, "Oh, I have time. I'll buy it later," you know.
Right.
So out of phase one and phase two, there is about 123 vacant lots, and we have sold about 60 or 70.
Okay. Amazing. So well on your way.
Yeah,
I-
no, it's amazing.
And when you're selling them, are you finding that you're selling them for cash or are they selling on seller financing?
20% cash, 70%, 80% seller finance.
Okay. And that's one of the interesting things in this business, everybody, especially when you do land subdividing like this. And I guess maybe it's a lot of it's in Texas because I had someone on who did deals in North Carolina and like all of their lots were sold in cash. But a lot of the lots that Luis is talking about, West Texas, other places, they're sold on seller financing. So now that you have all these, are you liquidating the notes or are you doing something else?
We're liquidating the notes. Yeah, we're trying to sell the notes because we have the debt to pay, right? It
Right.
was a $3.1 million purchase. So
Hmm.
we have to pay the debt to start making money. And I was saying, 1 acres are selling like water. Like they're
Hmm.
selling so fast on a note.
Yeah.
So we're going to be creating more 1 acre not lots.
Mhm.
And
So in
that's
this,
the highest return that we have. It's 1 acre lots.
okay. So how long was the process to get this approved by the county or the city or whatever the jurisdiction was?
Um, so we closed January 31st, and we were working before that. You have to do a water study in Texas right now
Hmm.
if you're doing less than 10 acres.
Yep.
So that took like a month and a half, 2 months. And after we closed, they were not having meetings at the county. So we got this plat approved in November 11 or November
So before
13.
you closed it. Oh no,
No,
this year.
after. Yeah, yeah. We knew that we were talking to them. My partner was we're talking to the city and everything else. We knew what to do. They knew what to do. So we're
Hmm.
like, we were just waiting for the water study to make sure there was enough water to do this subdivision.
Hmm.
And in the meantime, the city said, no, you're good. You're good to go. We just have to have the proper meeting with them and finalize the documents. And the seller just gave us we had to extend the contract. So we
Hmm.
extended to August 31st, and that was the last day for the seller. But we already had like full confidence that everything was going to work.
Yeah.
But September and October, it was a waste because the city was not having meetings or something like that we could not present the plat,
Ugh.
or the engineers were taking too long. You're waiting for people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So were you just were you did you structure the contract to where this was basically like a very long due diligence period, or had you already closed and taken ownership?
I took ownership. Yeah, we took
Okay.
ownership August 31st.
Okay. So you had, okay. So in August, you close. November, a couple months later, the final blessing shows up and off you go.
Yes, but
Right.
by August 31st, we had done all the due diligence to make sure this project was a good project.
Right. That's so key for everybody listening to this. Probably like, did he just hold this thing for 11 months and it's not no. So during this process, everybody, if you're talking with somebody with this kind of land, you're saying, hey, dude, this is going to be months of due diligence. And it's not even because Luis and I want to hold on to it for that long of due diligence. It's because the government authorities take that long and then they just say, hey, you know what, for September, October, we're not going to show up, or whatever it is. You can't control them.
You can't control it. And our engineers were not doing the job very well. They were taking forever.
Ugh.
But to, so it wasn't 11 months because I got this contract signed. I think it was in May. So we had
Hmm.
May, June, July, and August. Yeah, it was about 120 days escrow. A little
Okay.
bit less. So it was mid-May.
Awesome. How was it raising money for this?
It was super easy.
Really?
Yeah, because my partner brought someone that had done a previous deal with them and gave him the money.
Hmm.
So they were all in. I should have I made a mistake on that where I gave profit away on this deal plus I'm paying interest on the debt.
Hmm.
So because the money came so easy, I I didn't do my work very well. And if someone is to learn with me, they're gonna learn the proper way where they're not gonna do the same mistake that I did. And
Hmm.
that mistake is gonna cost me 200, $300,000, Jeff.
Mm. Yeah. Okay.
You know, so it
But
came easy, but came with a price, which
right.
I learned my lesson. And the next one, no one's going to take advantage of me.
Yeah. My grandmother used to say learning is expensive. So it's just
So expensive.
it is, but you know what? But you obviously have this amazing deal. You're going to make a killing off of it, and be able to do. Yeah, I mean, it's already happening. So well
And
done.
that's a track record on my portfolio. When
Yeah.
I'm raising my next fund, I'm like, listen, this is what I did. This is the millions of dollars I'm creating right now.
Right.
You know, and I want to dictate the terms because, I mean, of course, I'm going to listen to other people, but at first, once you get a property under contract, Jeff and everyone that's listening, you are in control.
Hmm.
If the contract is yours and the seller has signed to sell it to you, you are in control. But after, when you raise the money, you bring other partners, you're not so much in control. There's
Right.
more people in control, and that's I lost control, and that's why I had to accept the terms that I had to accept at the end of the contract.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right. So do you have so obviously you got your hands full with this subdivision, but I'm also guessing you probably have your eyeballs on a couple others in the future.
Oh man, I'm like, right now I'm focused on subdivisions for sure.
Yeah.
And I have tons of offers. Don't get me wrong. The bread and butter, the tiny vacant lots that I flip that I make $6, $10, $15, $20,000, they come regularly.
Yeah.
I can't forget about those because they are my money. But I do have another subdivision in Colorado.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, we had I had Mitchell Kita on here a couple weeks ago, and he was chasing after the entitlements, and both of us were talking about how, he was doing a lot of vacant lot wholesaling, and he flipped over to entitlements entirely, and then he didn't have that consistent cash flow coming in from the small little sales, and you need that to keep going while you're waiting, however
Oh
long it
yeah.
takes to do the
Because this is
subdivision.
going to take another, like, for me to see real money, we're talking about real money, it's going to take another 8 to a year, 8 months to a year,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to be like, okay, let me relax a little bit. Let me see what I structure my business now. But the
Yeah.
smaller deals are always, I'm chasing them like crazy.
Right.
And like this subdivision in Colorado, it took me 11 months to get it done.
Mhm.
It's going to be a year by the time I get the plat approved. I mean, it's approved by the time I get the plat back to me,
Mhm.
and that one came from texting out of the blue. And I was in John's group. So I was like, what can I do with this property? Because listening about subdivisions and everything else, I opened my mind.
Yeah.
Before I would just flip. I would make at least $100,000 on it, maybe $120,000, and I would just flip.
Mhm.
Listening to him, I called the county. I'm like, okay, I can get this property and make it 4. I got 1 acre. I can make it into 4. I purchased using my own money. It was a low purchase. I ended up purchasing for $52,000.
Mhm.
Um, and now I'm going to start selling right now. And that's a good thing because I'm going to close escrow when I sell that. I'm going to sell 3 vacant lots. I'm going to keep 1 for myself,
Oh,
unless I
cool.
get a crazy offer.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be making more than $120,000 profit. And I'm going to keep the biggest one for myself.
Great.
So I'm
Great.
super excited about it.
So,
But it takes time.
Yeah, they take time. So for this subdivide you're doing here, again, I'm usually thinking, you're doing the 10-acre lots. If you're doing these 1-acre lots, what kind of multiple from your purchase price to sold price are you getting here?
Oh man. Just because, are we counting the improvements or just the multiple and the price purchase and price that I'm
Yeah, so
selling
I
it
would say,
for?
like, of all the money you have to put into it, you know, the plat, holding cost, all the rest of it,
Okay. Mm.
what, like, just ballpark, because it's probably
At
not
least,
2x, it's probably quite a
at
bit more.
least, at least 2.5x.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
250% ROI.
Yeah.
At least. That's the minimum that we know that we can make
Is that after the notes are sold or before that?
after.
Okay.
After the
Amazing.
debt's paid, after everything.
Yeah. And so that was one of the other things, guys, when you get into this, I've kind of found the rule of thumb is you basically have to buy about half the value of what you can resell the, like, 10-acre lots for. But in Luis's case, what we're getting at here is it's not just 2 times the purchase price, it's 2.5 times the initial value after debt servicing, all the rest of it. And even after the notes are sold, because the notes, you're going to get like a 15-20% discount on that too, right?
Oh yeah. 16, 18% discount on that.
Something like that, which is fine, right? As long as you know it's coming, and he's still getting this 2.5 return because of how small the lots are and everything that Luis had to go through to do it.
Yeah. At the same time, we increase the price of the note. So cash
Mhm.
price is one price, note price is
Right.
another price. So when you're selling that to an investor, it pretty much gives us the cash price of the lot.
Mm. Yeah. No, that makes
when you're
tons and
selling the
tons of
note.
sense. Yeah. And all these lots you're mostly putting on marketplace and maybe doing some flat fee listings.
One of our partners is an agent in Texas.
Oh, okay.
So marketplace is a big time. I'm putting a ton of money in advertising in there. Uh,
How,
and
how
then
much
it's online.
how much do you have to spend on marketplace for that really to be effective?
Uh, so for this project so far, almost 2 months of advertising on Facebook, just myself. I don't know how much money my partners have to put in on his account, but mine is at least $3,000
Over 2 months.
over 2 months,
Okay. Yeah.
a month and a half.
All
Because we
right.
started selling before the plat was approved in November. Like the
Right.
beginning of November, we're like, we are 100% sure. Let's start selling this. We tell people that if it doesn't get approved, they get their money backs.
Hmm.
But let's pre-sell these lots like John does it.
Yeah.
So at
Yeah.
least $3,000. Right now, I put more money into it.
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay. Cool. So you're doing all this stuff. It's amazing. And then at some point, oh, I don't know, I wasn't paying attention. You have a land coaching business that's going well. Tell us about that.
Yes. So back in 2019, when I was 2020, when I was doing well, people were asking me actually, Jeff, like how are you doing? You just started and you're doing all these flips by yourself. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I just take action. I just figure it out. I got the contracts done. I got the title companies. I'm doing massive action. We're talking about, I think 2020, I did 80,000 letters.
Wow.
And then 2021, another like 80 to 90,000 letters. I can pull out the record in here. It's everything available because I was using Rocket Print. I still use them. I still have credits in there, which I'm going to use it right now. I have two lists, one in Arizona and one in California, that I'm going to send it to them for them to do the blind offers. So
Okay.
I still do mailers, but like 2021, 2022, I was doing a lot. And then I learned I listened to someone else podcast, Jeff, about they were texting, they were doing the voicemail. I'm like, what in the world? Let me do that. So I hire another employee. She does all the texting. I don't touch texting at all. It's very time consuming. And the other
Hmm.
employees, they do the ringless voicemail as well. But back to where we're talking about the coaching. So I was teaching people, I was charging them $100 an hour plus profit on the deals. I taught two people, and they were doing well, but people give up. That's what I see.
Yeah.
They closed a few deals. They were closing deals. They were making like 10, 7, $9,000 checks, but they were too busy with their lives.
Hmm.
And I forgot about it, but I always had in the back of my mind, I want to teach something. I was thinking about personal development. I was teaching about like health style, and I was like, forget about it. I'm going to teach what I know what to do. What I'm an authority, right, in flipping vacant lots. I'm going to teach them that. And that's when I started doing the one-on-one coaching. I got 2 students after that, and again, they people get afraid. People don't make the calls. They get afraid of making the lowball offers that we have to make, and I get it. The rejection is not easy.
Hmm.
I don't take most of my rejections. My employees do, and they're killers.
Yeah.
They hear no, 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 no. How much is the least amount of that you're gonna take, and they just move on to the next call. But a lot of people they are not like that. Um, so I started teaching people, and I saw that a lot of people don't do what they say they're gonna do. They're like, yeah, Luis, I want to do it. I'm excited. I want to make tons of money, and then they just give up. After that, I created my course online. So all the steps, like the same way I learned, a little bit better, because now there is texting in there that I teach you how to do. There's cold calling, there's voicemail, there's an email, so you're reaching out to people in 4 different ways. Before I was
Mhm.
just doing one, right? I learned how to do mailers, and
Right.
that was it. I had to pivot to spend less money in advertising and marketing to make sure. So now I teach everything. Like about my course, I was doing a Black Friday deal for 1,500, Jeff. The
Mm.
same amount that I paid back in 2019 for you to have everything, all the tools available, even subdivisions, everything. I recorded everything. I spent like a month and a half recording all the things that I know about it, and I still do. And you still have a call with me, a 2-hour call with me after you listen to the videos that I made, after you like have a better understanding about what I'm talking about, so you can bring me the markets that you think can work. So I
Mm-hmm.
give you the tools. All right, Jeff, this is how you find markets where you're going to send letters, calling, texting. And after you find the markets, let's talk. Let's do a call, because I want to see if those markets are really good ones. Because if they're not, I want you to eliminate them so you don't waste time like I did in the beginning, sending letters everywhere, not knowing what I was doing.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
So that is a huge thing that I like to do with every single one. And believe me, all these students that I had, they would bring me areas and I would say like, pass, pass, pass. This is a good one, but this other 2 or 3 were not good. And you're saving thousands of dollars with marketing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a huge thing, is selecting the right market, because some markets you're going to be able to play in, and it's going to be awesome, and other markets, there's a lot of times there's just no demand. Nobody wants to be out there, so you couldn't sell it if you couldn't sell it if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But
Okay.
people don't know what to do yet when they're starting. There's a lot
Right.
of free stuff online, but at the same time, it doesn't give you the context that we're talking here. And you don't have the accountability. So I'm giving to people, accountability on your most precious thing in land, which is finding areas.
Yeah. Exactly. Cool. What other last bits of advice would you give to somebody who's saying, "Hey, I want to consider doing this"?
I would tell you to hire someone to help you. No, it doesn't have to be me, Jeff, but you have
Yes,
to
it
have
does.
someone that has. Yes, it does. Yes.
Yeah, it does.
If you really want the guy that's like, it's going to put his effort to it. I've seen other people teaching, but I don't know how they do it. Um, I'm here to help. You got to take action. That's the most important. Take action, buying. Take a leap of faith on
Hmm.
yourself first, if you think that's going to work. And you got to grind. You got to grind, because 2020, 2021, I was grinding nonstop. Even now, I'm like always grinding. I'm always looking for new stuff. Of course, I have so many people to help me, because it's harder to get a deal right now than it was in 2019, 2020, 2021.
Hmm.
It's like 3x harder.
Mm.
3 times harder to get a deal right now. That's why I need all these employees, because if it was back in 2020, 3 employees would be enough, Jeff. Right?
Yeah.
So you got to understand that if you're starting right now, don't be frustrated, because there's a lot of people doing the same thing and they're making mistakes.
Yeah.
Where I get offers at least once a week from these new investors. Their
Hmm.
contract, first of all, their contract sucks. Their
Right.
contract is horrible. Second of all, they're offering me so much money for the property that they cannot make money. You know, so that's what I'm trying to say. You got to learn. You got to hire someone that knows what they're doing. There's a property in California. Let me give you this example. I bought this property for. I got this property under contract for $14,000, 13 something.
Hmm.
Taking a look at, I sold that property for $25,000, Jeff, on a note, on a
Mm.
note.
Okay.
But I was like, that's not enough profit, This is taking me so long. I went back to the seller and I negotiated down to 10.
Yeah.
The seller was ghosting me at 13 and a half.
Oh,
I
wow.
had to get in touch with him no matter what. And that's what I do, right? I teach people, you got to get in touch with them, because sometimes they're gone. So I
Yeah.
dropped to 10. I sold it for $25,000. I got $10,000 from the buyer as their down payment.
Hmm.
So I was in for nothing, right?
Yeah. So you could pay off
And
the first. Yep.
I paid off the first guy. California, you have to buy it first for you to sell it. But I
Hmm.
already had a buyer, right? So I did. I bought it first using my funds, and then I sold it after, got my money, all the money back. I did a 15-year term, 6% interest, 1,050 something. So every single month I'm getting that check, and it's pure cash flow, right?
Cool.
But the main thing that I was telling you that people are making mistakes, other lending investors, is because I got an offer on that vacant lot after I sold. It was not even in my name anymore. So
Mhm.
wrong data, for $25,000.
Wow.
Someone was offering me the price that I sold the property for, an investor. They couldn't ever make money on it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So the investor thought I can pay 25, and you're like, dude, you won't do anything with this. Wow.
He was thinking that he could sell it for at least 40, I would imagine. I don't know. I
Yeah.
have no idea how he did the comps.
Right.
But 25 was the real market value for the property.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So
maybe
you know
that's
what
even the strategy. Just market it at full market value and then negotiate them down.
but it's too high.
Yeah.
You're asking the guy to sign the contract for 25 and then you're going to drop it for 12, 13, 15. That's
Yeah.
a huge drop. That's hard to get.
Yeah. That's big.
They just don't know. They're looking at the data, but they're looking at the data wrong. They're not
Mm-hmm.
clicking on every single property in there to see, all right, why this one sold for $50,000, $40,000.
Mm.
So he offered me, I was in shock. I was like, I sent an email to him. You're offering me $25,000 for a property that I just sold for $25,000. Do
Yeah.
you understand that you're making a huge mistake right now? You did not do your comparables very well.
Guess not.
Never
Jeez.
replied back. There's other people that are always reach out to me and I send them an email. I'll sell it to you right now.
Yeah. And they don't respond.
They don't respond because they're offering too much money.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing to me, because when I go to the seller and the seller has signed a contract with this previous guy and this guy did not close, the seller's going to be like, what's going on? Why did that guy not close? Some
Mhm.
sellers will be stuck in that number that the guy offered. I want $4,000 because the other guy gave me $4,000 offer. Did he close? No, he did
Right.
not. So I cannot offer you that much.
No, but it's obviously a good number.
But it's a good thing to tell her, hey, listen, this is how much I can offer. That guy was he didn't know what he was doing.
Right.
Like, I'm going to call a lady right now that someone texted me on Instagram. Luis, she's interested in selling. I offered her $10,000. She doesn't want. She wants to sell it for about $12,000. I'm like, let me call her. I know I can offer her 12,500 because someone else offered 12, but I want to
Mhm.
get it done.
Yeah.
And I know that I can sell that area. I know very well the area in Arizona. So it's okay to ask for help, guys. I asked for help so many times. I'm always in these groups. You see me on R8 Tipster, John Jasniak, Note School. I'm always asking for help. I'm always asking for like referrals. I'm like, you can't do that by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, guys, this is Luis. If you're interested in doing this and flipping land and also the subdivides, obviously Luis and I are both involved in John Jasniak's course. Nothing but good things to say here. But and Luis is obviously, I mean, you see the picture, like he's knee deep in one right now and it's going great. So reach out to Luis. That's his Instagram handle if you're interested in hearing more about his coaching business. Luis, thanks again so much for being here and all this huge value.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for providing this to new people. You had great questions and you understood what I was saying. So you translated to people in a easier way for them to understand, because we talk a little different because we are in the business, but there's a lot of people that don't know what we're talking about. And you were able to translate for them. Thank you.
Oh, good. All right, guys. We will see you next time for episode 5. This is episode 4 of Dirty Money. That's Luis. Go check him out. Go follow him. Send him a message on Instagram and say, hey, thanks for coming and hanging out. And I learned so much. And tell him what you're going to do going forward. So we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.